looking for Holiday.
I'm so sorry. I didn't hit the record button.
Uh-oh. It's all right. Any questions for me, though? Does anybody have anything? You know, we're working on our zoning update, but I don't have anything to report yet because they're in their time of gathering information about our current zoning code and possible changes to it, but we don't have any reports out yet, so I've got nothing.
Thank you, Ann.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to quickly recap. So our call to order was at 7:01. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Our consent agenda was the motion.
Approved. The motion was Anthony, the second was Suzanne, and it was approved unanimously.
Thank you. And Carrie Ashcroft is here from the Friends of the Library. She spoke about the May 9th plant sale. That will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Volunteers are being solicited right now. All pre-sales will be online. We're using Barch Farms, and they are continuing to work on their website, and the PCBL conference was a great success.
Great.
Speaking of that real quick, just to back up for a second, would you want as many of us to be there that day as we can, as we've done in the past?
The board is essential in helping with getting the tent set up and the tear down. So if you all can be there, usually it's about 8:30 they start setting up tents and tables. Really appreciate that.
Sounds good.
Okay, we are all caught up for Holiday in the future.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We will move on to my president's report. What we have first up is our discussion of our 2026-27 slate of officers to approve in the April meeting. I got an email from Holiday that the nominating committee received the following nominations. It's our same officers that are currently in place: me as president, Anthony as vice president, Holiday as secretary, and Pete as treasurer. Mara, you're on that committee, so can you confirm that's our official nominees? Mara?
Yes, sorry, I have to unmute. Yes, that is exactly right.
Okay. And here I thought we were voting on this tonight, but we're not voting on this tonight. We're voting on this in April.
According to our bylaws, it has to be at the annual meeting, which is the annual meeting.
So we'll vote in April. So we just have discussion. Is there anyone who was nominated who wants to not accept their nomination? I will accept mine. Anthony?
Ditto, I will accept mine.
And we are going to assume that Pete and Holiday will too, unless I hear otherwise. Do we need any further discussion about that? Okay, we will vote in April. While I'm thinking about it, I checked, and this is my last year on the board, so this will be my last year as president, so people can start to get their minds turning on what might happen next year. Also, before I forget, I will not be here for the May meeting. I will be with Bruce Springsteen, so you should try to make that one.
I feel like you should bring him to the meeting.
Yeah.
Jeez, is that like power corrupts? I mean,
I'll be with him with like 15,000 other people, but yes. But if I were you, I would plan on making that one.
I guess
if you
could go to
could.
the concert.
Oh no, if you can come to the concert, come to the concert. We'll pass it on down.
Nice, nice.
Okay, discuss 2026 committee members to appoint in April meeting. Is that that's going to be like our normal subcommittees, or
Well,
that's
we
going
have
to
the
be
three standing committees, which are fundraising.
And I
governance,
assume
and
those
finance.
would not change. Is there anybody present in this meeting who is interested in changing subcommittees or would show an interest in restructuring those? Because personally, I think they work pretty well as is.
I hope Maura and Holiday want to continue to be on the fundraising board or committee because they have done gangbusters work.
Sure,
Mara?
absolutely.
I'm happy where I'm at. Suzanne?
Yes, fine.
And then we also have our ad hoc board that we're putting together. Which,
strategic
when
plan
does that
committee.
need to be in place by? So
Just-
we would be appointing that in April, because I know you sent me a name of someone
Yeah,
from the
Sherry
public
Mosher,
who I've
from
not-
the Friends of the Library. She was a former library board member and president. So she'll be wonderful on the
So-
committee.
She's also an architect, and I know her personally. She'll be great.
Yes.
I have not contacted her yet. I will. I meant to before this
Yeah,
meeting
no,
and it
there's
just
no-
got out of
There's no
control.
hurry.
I also got your email and your
Yes,
interest, so
great.
that's been noted and I see no reason why that can't happen.
I just didn't want to
And-
assume the governance committee would take it on because you all have a lot, you're pulling a lot of weight on this.
I honestly forget what we discussed about this last time. So we know, can't have, well, I guess
You
we
can't
could,
have more
we-
than
We could have
we
four.
could,
four.
you can't have more than 3 board members.
Right, you can
But-
have, this- yeah, and.
But we
I
could
just-
have more than 3 members.
I'm interested as well.
Absolutely, I just, really, this committee is to keep me on track so that I actually get the strategic plan done this year. I'm afraid that if I don't have someone holding my feet to the fire, it's gonna get pushed aside because of this building project,
Mhm.
which is gonna take a lot of my bandwidth and Jeremy's bandwidth.
Mhm.
So I need you all to help me get it done, basically.
I'm part of it. or
I
willing to
think
be
with
part of it.
Anthony, Suzanne, and Sherry, I mean, that's a really good committee.
As long as-
I also like the idea of, we're taking one governance committee person and one finance committee person and
Mhm.
one person from the public, and we'll see if we get anybody else, but that's
Mhm.
3 to
Well,
start
and I
with.
could-
As long as you're sure you're not taking on too much, because I know
Yep,
you
I'm
pretty
good.
much, okay,
I'm good.
running the main meeting, I know you pretty much run the finance committee, so I just want to, you're good.
Can't do the
Okay.
Springsteen concert.
Yeah, that's the only thing you're
Things that I
missing.
give up.
Just a point of clarification,
Yeah.
as long as we don't have 3 board members, we could have 2 friends.
Yeah,
Yes.
staff members.
Committee
You,
members.
know, I might
Yeah.
wanna
you
bring
can
in
actually
some
have
staff members.
3 board members, you can't have 4.
Right,
Right,
we just
Yeah.
can't have a quorum.
So it could be 3 plus, it could be 3 board members plus 2 friends members plus 2 members of the public and you're fine. I don't know if we need that many.
Right, I think if we can start out with the 4 of us, and, if I need to bring in Jeremy or Sharon from my staff, which I will at some point need to bring them in,
Mhm.
it will really help me just to keep me, if we can get a schedule put together and
Sure.
figure out the priorities and that kind of thing, that would be really helpful.
I mean, that sounds wonderful to me. The person whose name you sent me, who we just discussed, are
Sherry
we
Murray.
sure they're interested?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I asked at the last Friends
okay,
board meeting and she volunteered.
great.
Very
I didn't even
Um,
give her a look. She just volunteered.
I'm going to email her ASAP. So that sounds great. Any other discussion we need about committee members? Otherwise, we'll make this all official next month.
Mhm. Mhm.
Great. With that, we'll move on to Robin and the director's report.
Okay. Let's see. Other than what you have in your packet for February, which, as always, we had a busy month. We had our staff development day,
Mhm.
went very well. That was followed closely on the heels, as Carrie said, by the joint Pennsylvania Citizens for Better Libraries, Pennsylvania Library Association, Friends and Trustees Institute. There were about 7 of us here that day
Mhm.
altogether.
Upstairs and downstairs, yep.
We had 3 screens running concurrently. That is a way for us to allow attendees to view whatever they want, as well as support both of the organizations, which we're very heavily involved in. As you know, Susan Tracy is the current president of the PCBL, which is our
Mhm.
state Friends organization. And I'm very active in the Pennsylvania Library Association. So Susan and Jean, one of our bookseller volunteers, they presented at the conference about vintage books and selling vintage books online. They did an amazing job. It was a very, very good conference. All the sessions we attended were great. You can still view them until June 10th. Any of us on the board or the Friends board, I've got the logins. If you want to, take a look at some of the sessions, just let me know and I'll send you the information to do that. Let's see. The ACLA general membership meeting, the first one of the year, there were 3. The first one is on March 29th at 7 PM via Zoom. All board members are invited to attend. That's just to find out more about what's going on with the ACLA County Board and what's going on in the county with libraries. Let's see. I completed and submitted our report to the state. I actually had it done a few days early, so I was really excited. And then there was, of course, one number that we didn't have in, so I had to have it opened back up. But I did get it all in, so it should be all done unless they have to find another problem with it. MA and I are working on finishing our annual report, which also in the bylaws, we approve at the April meeting. So you'll see that next month. The Allegheny County Library Association is also, we're in legislative advocacy mode, so we're setting up meetings with representatives. We don't have ours on the calendars yet for Jen, I can't pronounce her last name, Mazza, Ann, help me out.
Wait,
You,
Jen Mazzocco.
thank you.
Yep.
And our senator, whose name is also escaping me.
Fontana, Senator Wayne Fontana.
Wayne Fontana, yes, lovely man. So
Uh-huh.
we'll be meeting with them soon to talk about the ask. The Pennsylvania Library Association and this is leading us in these advocacy efforts, and we're asking collectively for a $7.3 million increase to the state subsidy, which is flat in the governor's recommended budget. It's currently at 75.4 million, which is about $1.80 a person. So this would get us up to an even $2 a person. I think I have that right. And we've been having great programs as always. We recently hosted the Pittsburgh protests, Rachel Ambovier. She had over 40 attendees. It was a wonderful, well-attended, happy program, no issues there. And the PEEP diorama contest is currently going on. The dioramas are upstairs. Voting is this week, so make sure you stop by and take a look. We have 92 entries this year, and some of them they're all wonderful.
Are they all in one place upstairs? Or are they
The
littered
bulk
all
of them-
about?
The bulk of them are in the children's library, but
Okay.
the adult and teen entries are over near the teen area.
Okay.
So yeah, take a look. There are a couple that will just really blow you away, but they're all so much fun. And that's all I have.
Great. Any questions for Robin about her report?
I'll just add, for those of us who were there on the 7th, I thought the program was really, really well done. The woman from Harrisburg who did the second session, who walked through the website.
Oh, the OCL website, was that
Yes.
Heather Sharp?
You said you knew her, or at least knew of her. Dark-haired woman.
I think it was Heather Sharp, but
I honestly can't remember. I thought, of the sessions I saw, I thought what made that one particularly valuable, especially if you're on any library board, is finding what you would want on that website and the links to it and whatnot.
it's basically the board manual that they used to print
Yes,
out,
yes.
which I don't think they've printed out since like the late 90s. They now have online in a very searchable format. There's a whole
Mhm.
section on strategic planning, so
Mhm.
you'll have to make sure to look at it. But it's got a lot of great information.
Yeah, I thought her, and that's not to say the other ones were not important, but I thought for where we are right now, her discussion and that website, I think will be particularly particularly valuable for us. Easy for me to say.
Anything else? Thank you, Robin. We'll move on to committee reports. Before I turn it over to Anthony, I will let everyone know that the governance committee intended to meet before this meeting. We could not find a date that met everyone's schedule, unfortunately, but we are meeting this coming Monday, I believe it is. So we will be meeting next week, and we will have a report at our next full board meeting.
And when I'm not at discussion session, that's why.
And with that, I will turn it over to Anthony for any updates from the fundraising committee.
Oh, sigh. I am never one who enjoys less than good news, but let me preface by saying that Marina is a saint. I think all of us know that. We had only 2 people volunteer to have their gardens to be part of the 2026 garden tour. Going from
After exhaustively.
going from memory, she sent out like 110 phone calls or emails. I mean, she tried and she tried and she tried. And she was probably the most frustrated of anyone who's been involved intimately in the garden tour the last 4 or 5 years since I've been on the board. So what we're gonna do for 2026 is move to a virtual garden tour. And some of you may remember that it was, help me out here, Robin, it was 2020 that we did a
We
virtual garden
started in
tour, right?
2020 and 2021, we did exclusively virtual garden
Right,
tours.
right.
And then we started bringing it back in a limited way in 22, and I think by 23 or 24, we were back to full bore.
Mhm.
But we've always done the virtual tour ever since,
Mhm.
because it's an accessibility issue as well. Because as you know, if you live in Mount Lebanon, it's not an easy place to get around. It's not flat, it's not level, it's, you know, climbing up some of those stairs and hillsides to get into people's gardens is difficult for a lot of people. So this way, everyone can enjoy the garden tour.
So we're gonna do exclusively exclusively virtual this year. One thing that I want to ask everybody, I didn't want to send out a note to the usual set of volunteers until we all met tonight. You think that should come from me since I'm usually in contact with them? Should that come from Bob as board president? What do we think is best, just to alert all those volunteers that, look, we're not gonna be, going with a traditional garden tour this year. Cause this is about the time I start putting out a call for, locate or times to volunteer, et cetera. I just want sort of a clarity as to what we should do so that we don't overstep here.
I'm happy to sign it or have you add my name to it, but
Okay.
I don't feel like I know enough about it to
Okay.
put together
Okay.
the email or whatever.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't want to do it before we talked as a group and I filled everybody in. But I also didn't want to presume that it automatically would come from me.
How does a virtual tour work? Explain that to me.
Robin, I'll defer to you because I wasn't on the board the year that it was done that way. And so you understand it far better than I.
Basically, we have a professional photographer, Judy McCoskey, who retired from the Mount Lebanon Public Information Office. She used to work on the magazine. And she goes around to the different gardens, several different points during the growing season, and just gets gorgeous pictures of the gardens. And then a slideshow is developed. We put it on our website. We still sell advertising. We won't do the booklet, obviously, because there isn't an actual event, but we'll still sell advertising. We also we're kicking around some ideas to do things like featured gardens. Traditionally, we'll have several gardens that the professional photographer does, and then we also include pictures from anybody's garden that wants to submit garden pictures. But we're thinking about doing a featured garden kind of thing, where if you want to pay a little extra, we do a special little feature for your garden, where your garden gets some special attention. So we're kicking around some ideas like that. And we'll also still be doing the garden tour, the raffle basket sales that are have always been done during the month of June with the garden tour. So we'll probably do that in the month leading up to the garden tour, so from like mid-May to mid-June.
Okay.
I have a question. If there's only 2 gardens, how can we make a virtual garden tour out of 2 gardens?
Well, we'll use those gardens if they still want to be involved in the virtual tour. We'll have people submit from their own gardens. So if you have a gorgeous stand of peonies that you want to take pictures of and send in, we can do that. And then, like I said, we'll advertise for people if they want to be a featured garden and, pay a little bit extra, then we'll, do something special for their garden. And, usually, obviously, the gardeners that are on the tour don't pay to be on the tour, but this would be a way for us to fundraise a little bit without, and the gardeners obviously won't have 300 people traipsing through their garden. So like I said, we're kicking around some ideas. We'll see what we come up with.
I have a scary big picture hot take question. Is it time to start considering alternative centerpiece fundraiser events that would replace the garden tour? If the garden tour is becoming more and more of a hassle every year and harder to find willing participants, Could we still do the baskets and everything we earn money from a completely different type of, again, centerpiece fundraising event? And would it be worth discussing?
We have talked about some other events to do this year. We talked about instead of like a holiday lights store, to have a Halloween lights store, because Halloween lights are such a big deal in Mount Lebanon.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, so to do something where we ask those folks like Chris Reidenbach, I know you're not watching this, but I'm calling you out. People like that have huge Halloween displays in their yards, to maybe allow us to put a QR code on a stand in their yard, and then people can, you know, tag like a scavenger hunt and get all of the spots on the tour, things like that. We talked about doing possibly a bar crawl or a brewery tour.
You are coming in with just banger options here.
These were just some things we were kicking around at the last fundraising committee. So anybody, if you have any ideas or things you would like to try, let the fundraising committee know. They're open to trying a lot of things. As far as letting go of the garden tour, it's a hard thing. We've been doing it for 35 plus years. You know, a lot of people are really attached to it. Maybe it's outlived its natural life. Is it bringing in new people that are attending every year? I'm not really sure. I mean, there are people that have attended every single tour we've ever done, and it's hard to let that go, especially with the idea that some other organization might take it over, and it's an already established summer event in Mount Lebanon, and I would hate for somebody else to have it, but
My hesitation, especially this year at Pull the Plug, is, and this is more an observation than anything else, I think people overall are just hesitant to say yes to things this year. I don't know why that is, and I'm not, you know, we're not gonna dissect it or get answers here. But my sense is that this year people are a little more unwilling to literally or figuratively sort of open their doors. And so I'm gonna be the optimist and say that we just may have hit a kind of turbulent patch. But that, you know, to complete the airplane metaphor, that, you know, the skies are going to clear, it'll be a smooth flight the rest of the way. I just think this year was just one of those years. You know, even Marina was saying, never has she gotten so many no's. I think she said there was one person who said yes for 2028.
yeah.
I mean, so we have people who were saying, it's not like they're not willing, but this year, I think it was just a bad year, just for people to engage. And so, I mean, I'm one voice, but I'm inclined to say, let's not kill off this idea.
Well, no one's killing it tonight.
Oh, no, I understand. I understand.
Let me ask this. So we're about to start work on a comprehensive plan. I assume we're gonna be doing some public surveys and stuff in that. Would it be worth investigating?
Mhm.
You may want to remember this or write this down, since you're gonna be on that, or you're both gonna be on that
Yeah,
committee.
yep.
Once we start polling people, talking to
Mhm,
people, it may be worth asking them, how interested have you been in the garden tour? How
Mhm.
interested are you in the garden tour? Would
Mhm.
you rather do these other fun ideas instead?
Mhm.
That sort of thing. Since we're gonna be polling people for our comprehensive plan anyway, this might be a good
Well, and one
side
thing I wanna
detour to
do,
take.
and you just jogged my memory, I meant to mention this earlier. Holiday did a survey after last year's garden tour. And I want to go back and look at those questions she asked and the answers that she found, to see if there's anything in there that may give us a hint of sort of, you know, where we are and where things stand. So, more, I don't want to hog the conversation. Anything that you also want to contribute to this entire conversation?
No, that was a good summary from both you and Robin. I would just say that Holiday, because Holiday reminded me this when she and I were talking the other day. As you said, she did do a survey. She reminded me that the sample size is quite small considering how many people actually attended. And we all know that, you know, the people the people who answer are the people who had really, you know, who have strong opinions, right? There were lots of people who didn't answer. So even though she did reach out to all. Yep.
I'm not on the fundraising committee, and I am not about to kill the garden tour on my way out the door. But
And I'm not suggesting it.
I
either.
do
agree.
think these are conversations your
Yes.
committee at least should be starting to have.
Absolutely. I think it's fair to be asking. Yep. I think it's fair to be asking. But before we
Yeah.
close the door on this, when you see Marina next, all of us, give her a pat on the back, because I know how disappointed she was.
Well, this was, she is planning to retire.
And it's her
this year, so
swan
It's going to
song,
be her
yeah.
last year. and-
patting Marina on the back is kind of my default position.
You're
She
right.
deserves it constantly.
She
so-
always does, and I could see the frustration on her face, so I get it, but that is where we are.
Thank you. Any questions for Anthony? Okay, keep us updated.
Will do.
Old business, library director evaluation. If you're checking your emails, you all got the
Mhm.
link to that about two and a half weeks ago. I have not checked to see how many of you turned it in. I know at least one person did because they let me know. If you have not filled out our director evaluation yet, please do so by the end of March. I like to put that together the first week of April and then have it sort of presented either for or by the April meeting. And if you don't have the link, please let me know. I can resend. Library space planning project update.
Yeah, so,
Before you start, the grant, we haven't heard
well,
anything?
it's all part of this, yeah.
Okay, great.
So, we have not heard, we're supposed to
Okay.
hear about the Keystone Grant. We applied for $750,000 to assist with phase one of our renovation project. We have been told by the Office of Commonwealth Libraries that they are going to announce the winners in the grant awardees in March with the start date for construction, April 1st. And there's an 18-month window to construction there. So, yeah, we're hopeful that they will get us that information by the end of March as promised, but as you know, they had trouble opening the grant cycle last fall. So I don't know if that will be delayed or not. I'll let you know as soon as I do.
Okay.
So last week, Jeremy and I met with Keith McGill, the municipal manager, Dan Dizeroff, who is is with Gateway Engineers, and they do a lot of work on a lot of municipal projects. They're the municipal engineers, basically. Rodney Sarver from Inspections and a couple of other folks at the municipality. And we talked about a proposal we received from the Draw Collective. That's the architectural firm we're working with. And we've basically completed our last contract with them. So this is the contract for the next phase. You're welcome to look at this if you want. The notes in red are Dan Dizeroff's notes. So the proposal, we're waiting for legal for Phil Weiss to weigh in before signing, but that should happen in the next couple of days. It includes the construction documents and specifications for phase one, specific needs for design development, like storage space in the staff areas, things like that. And they will produce bid-ready documents the specifics of the design will allow us to remain open as much as possible in phase one, which is a priority for us, as you know. They will assist us with the bidding process. And they will perform construction administration, so like bi-weekly meetings with the contractors and things like that. And there will be a construction manager hired as well. That's all been built into this project, into our plan, into the estimates. And so we'll be working with the construction manager as well. The estimate is for this proposal is about $144,000. And there's a timeline on the last page. So they'll begin construction. We will begin construction in August on phase one. It'll be about 9 months and plan to be done in May of 2027. So that's really what we're working on. We met with Draw, we discussed this proposal, then we met with the municipality to show them the proposal, get their input, and that's where we're at right now, just waiting for legal to weigh in before we can get it signed and get the next step moving. And like I said, we have not heard about the Keystone grant, and the bond issue, I think, will be posted in May, if I have that right. So that's the money that the municipality is planning to
Mhm.
contribute to the project. So things are moving. If it's the kind of thing where it's like moving incrementally so slowly, and then it's just going to slam into us, I think, all at once, and we're going to feel like things are going to get wild here this summer. As you know, we've reduced a lot of our plans for major events, so actually not having a garden tour isn't necessarily a bad thing, considering we also will not be having some other major events like our summer reading festival. We still will do summer reading. We'll still have a lot of programs at the library, but for my staff's sanity and just for a matter of, we're not gonna have a whole lot of space as we use rooms like this for storage or staff use,
Right.
we're gonna have to limit a lot of the things we do. So it's gonna be very different around here for quite some time, but at the end, it's gonna be wonderful. So that's where we're at with the project.
Okay, any questions for Robin about that? Thank you again, Robin. Lending policy discussion continued. I'm not sure if we need to do any of this tonight. I know where we left it, the governance committee agreed to take a look at, I feel like we were all on the same page with those lending policy changes that we feel are coming. On Monday, the governance committee plans to take a look at what that policy actually looks like to see if we need to make changes to that policy to accommodate some of the sort of tactile, real world changes that we're looking at for how the library is going to operate their cards in the future. Past that, again, I felt like we were all on the same page, and I don't think there was anything to discuss tonight, but if someone disagrees, if had anything else to talk about. Mara, did you have any extra lending policy stuff for this month?
No, thank you. Nope.
There should be a bigger update on that in April, once the governance committee looks some stuff over next week. Okay, do we have any other new business? I do not. Seems like no one else does, and with that said, I'll thank everyone for joining us tonight. We will officially adjourn this meeting. Robin, you may stop recording. I remind you to stop.
Do you want to do a motion and a second to adjourn?
Sure. Who would like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Motion,
I second.
second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Mara, thanks for joining us
Aye.
remotely.
All right. Good night.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Take care, Morris. Safe travels home.
Thank
Thank
you. Okay. Bye.
We can move on to our post-meeting advocacy moment, which do I have time for? Yeah, I got time for that. We moved very
Hold on, I'm trying to
fast.
Stop the recording.